The courtroom doors creak open. A hush falls over the room as a small girl steps inside, hand wrapped tightly around a worn red leash. Her eyes don't scan the faces. They drop to the floor. Behind her, a golden retriever pads softly on polished tile, tail low, ears alert. She walks like a whisper. The judge glances at the bailiff, then down at the child's name on the docket. Ellie Harper, age 9, key witness. No one expects her to speak. Not the prosecutor, not the defense, not even the judge. She hasn't spoken in months. Ellie is guided to the witness stand, the dog, Max, settling at her feet with practiced grace. The prosecutor rises. Your Honor, we'll proceed with the understanding that the witness may not be able to verbally testify. Her therapy dog has been approved to remain beside her. There's a pause. The judge nods. Proceed. All eyes shift to the girl. The defense team leans back, smug. Their client, mid-50s, suit too crisp, smile too clean, doesn't even glance at the girl. She glances at him, just once. Her lip trembles just barely. But she doesn't look away. Max stirs. His eyes fix forward. Ellie lowers her hand, resting it near his neck. A silent signal, muscle memory trained over months of therapy. A code no one else can read. Max stays still. The prosecutor gently asks a question. Ellie, do you feel comfortable telling us what happened that day? Silence. Max leans into her leg. She doesn't speak. She doesn't nod. The jury shifts uncomfortably. One woman on the front row folds her hands tighter. Another question. This one softer. Can you tell us who was there? Still nothing. The judge leans forward. Ms. Harper, anything you can share will help us understand. No words, just breathe. Then her hand moves, barely. Two fingers twitch in a subtle sweep near Max's collar. Max sits up, slowly. A murmur ripples through the room. The dog's ears perk, eyes sharpen. He scans the defense table and locks in. Every muscle in his body tightens. He leans forward, gaze zeroed on the man in the gray tie. The courtroom holds still. Ellie makes another motion, a practiced flick of her thumb. Max shifts, stands, one paw forward, eyes unblinking. A low growl begins to rumble from his chest, soft at first, then louder. The courtroom explodes, gasps, shouts. One juror half stands. The judge bangs his gavel. Order! But Max does not break focus. He stays locked on the man Ellie never named. The prosecutor stares, stunned. The defense leaps to their feet. Objection! This is a dog. This is theatrics. The judge's voice cuts like a blade. Control the dog, now. Ellie doesn't move. Max's growl fades into silence, but the message has already landed. The courtroom goes silent. The silence doesn't end with the gavel. Everyone stares at the girl, this quiet 9-year-old who hasn't said a word since the incident, and her dog, who now stands like a statue. Max's eyes stay fixed on the man at the defense table. Not a glance, not a sniff, a stare. The man fidgets in his seat. His jaw tightens. His smile is gone. The judge exhales, carefully choosing his words. What just happened? Maya, the trauma therapist seated near Ellie, rises slowly. Your Honor, that wasn't random. The defense scoffs. It was a coincidence. The dog's probably reacting to my client's movement. Let's not pretend this is evidence. But Maya steps closer. Her voice stays calm, but her eyes focused. Max is trained in advanced behavioral cues. Ellie doesn't speak, but she communicates through signals we developed over time. What you just saw was intentional. The judge leans back. Explain. Maya nods toward the child. She made a coded request, a signal to identify a threat. Max responded to someone specific. He didn't bark at the gallery, not the jury, not even the bailiff. He went straight for that man. All eyes swing back to the defense table. The man in question raises his hands. This is absurd. Max growls again, low just once, and the man flinches. Ellie still hasn't spoken. Her face hasn't moved. But her hand gently strokes Max's back, steady and slow. The judge looks rattled. This is unorthodox. The prosecutor stands. Your Honor, I request a brief recess to clarify Max's training with the handler. If what this therapist is saying is true, then this child just gave a silent testimony. The judge hesitates, then nods. 15-minute recess. Clear the courtroom. As people begin to stand, Ellie suddenly tenses. Her fingers twitch again. Max doesn't move, doesn't respond. Her face tightens. Her breath quickens. Then, panic. She clutches Max's neck, body locking up. Her chest rises and falls too fast. Maya is there in seconds. It's happening. She's shutting down. Ellie lets out a choked gasp. Not a scream, not a word, just air, like a child drowning in memory. Max leans into her, hard. His body shields hers. He nuzzles her chest and makes soft vocalizations, whining, humming, pressing into her until her hands loosen. The judge watches, shaken. Is this normal? Maya kneels beside Ellie. Yes, this is trauma flashback. Her nervous system thinks she's reliving it. Everyone's too stunned to speak. The man at the defense table finally mutters, "This is a performance." Max lunges, not far, not violently, but enough to send the man falling backward in his chair. A collective gasp. Court officers step in, hands on belts. Restrain the dog. No, Maya yells. He's protecting her. That man said something, and Ellie reacted. Max isn't attacking. He's intercepting. The room freezes again. Ellie sobs once, silent, shoulders shaking, then wraps both arms around Max's neck. Everyone sees it now. This dog doesn't follow commands. He follows her. And whatever she just told him wasn't just a message. It was a cry for help. The courtroom reopens, only half full now. Some observers don't return. Others whisper as they slide into their seats, uncertain what they just witnessed. The judge looks exhausted. The bailiff keeps a hand on his holster, not for Ellie, not even for Max, but for the tension now coiled in the room, like wire. Ellie is still at the stand, shoulders hunched. Her fingers run across Max's fur in slow, steady strokes. The dog's eyes never leave the defense table. The prosecutor clears his throat. Your Honor, before we continue, we've brought in Max's original behavioral trainer, Dr. Lynette Chen, to clarify the signals used during therapy. A woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor steps forward. She introduces herself. She doesn't smile. Max was trained to recognize nonverbal cues from child trauma survivors, she says. His role is more than comfort. He can detect signs of emotional distress, recall triggers, and respond to safety-based prompts. The defense scoffs. This isn't a crime drama. Dogs don't testify. Dr. Chen narrows her gaze. He wasn't testifying. He was answering. She turns to the judge. Ellie's specific hand gesture, paired with posture change and breath acceleration, was a combination cue. It told Max to identify a person she associates with physical danger. The judge leans forward. And his response? He fixated, growled, positioned himself between the girl and the identified individual. He escalated only after the girl entered a distress response, what looked like a dissociative freeze. The courtroom is silent. Then the defense attorney stands and takes a breath. So we're taking direction from a dog now? The judge doesn't answer. Max does. He lets out one bark, just one, loud, sharp, director. The man on trial jolts again. Enough, the judge says, but his voice isn't angry, it's uneasy. The prosecutor rises. Your Honor, I request one final opportunity, not for testimony, but for truth. The judge gestures for him to proceed. The prosecutor walks toward the witness stand. He lowers himself slightly, speaking not to Ellie, but beside her. Ellie, we know it's hard, but if you feel safe, can you give Max the signal one more time? Ellie's hand trembles. Her eyes close. For a second it seems like she's folding inward again. Then her fingers twitch, left to right. Max stands, turns, and walks. The courtroom goes silent again. Max approaches the defense table slowly, not growling, not barking. He stops directly in front of the defendant and sits. Then he lifts his paw, places it on the man's foot. The prosecutor's voice cracks. That's Max's final cue, confirmation. The defendant stares at the dog. For a moment he looks confused, offended. Then it changes. His shoulders sag, his mouth opens. I didn't mean to hurt her, he whispers. She always looked so scared. Gasps. The courtroom erupts. The judge slams the gavel. Max returns to Ellie, tail still, eyes calm. He's done his job. And Ellie doesn't cry. She exhales. The trial doesn't end that day, but the truth is already out. The judge orders a recess. Reporters gather outside like sharks, but no one gets to Ellie. Max shields her from the flashes, walking between her and every camera lens. Inside the judge's chamber, officials replay the moment frame by frame. The defendant's lawyer tries to spin it, emotional confusion, a misunderstood comfort gesture. But it's too late. The courtroom saw what it saw. The jury felt what it felt. And Max confirmed it. Maya sits with Ellie in a quiet side room. The girl has yet to speak, but she's humming, just softly. A tune only Max seems to understand. He hums back in the way only dogs do, tail swishing in rhythm, head tilted. "Do you know what you did?" Maya whispers to her. "You made them listen, without saying a word." Ellie reaches for her notebook. For the first time in weeks, she begins to write. Slowly, one word at a time. He tried to hurt Max, too. Maya blinks back tears. Later that afternoon, a child psychologist confirms it. Ellie's silence was never just fear. It was protection. She was afraid if she spoke, the dog would be taken from her, too. The defendant had threatened it, whispered it into her ear, told her the dog would disappear if she said anything. That threat had echoed louder than any scream, but Max had spoken for her, in ways no human could. By the end of the week, the man is found guilty. The verdict is swift. He doesn't protest, doesn't ask for sympathy, because deep down, even he knows. A child can be coached, but a dog tells the truth. The judge delivers closing remarks with misted eyes. This court acknowledges not only the resilience of the child involved, but the role of her companion. I will be personally advocating for future inclusion of trauma response dogs in testimony cases statewide. Max receives a certificate, a medal, a bone as big as his head, but he only cares about one thing, Ellie. At home, she lies with him on the floor, tucked into his fur like a baby bird in a nest. "I love you," she whispers into his ear. Max blinks slowly, leans into her. Outside, the world buzzes with headlines. Silent girl's dog breaks the case. Therapy animal becomes star witness. But inside their quiet home, none of that matters. All that matters is that she's safe. And she knows he won't let anyone hurt her again. 6 months later, the courtroom is empty, but Ellie returns, not for a trial, not for therapy, just to visit. She walks confidently now, no leash this time. Max trots beside her, free but alert. His fur is a little thicker, his eyes still the same, gentle but watchful. The judge meets them on the steps, smiles warmly. "You're taller," he says. Ellie nods. So is Max. The judge chuckles, then kneels down. "You know, I still tell people what you and he did." Ellie reaches into her backpack and pulls out a folded piece of paper. "I made this," she says, "for the courtroom wall." It's a drawing, crayon and marker. Ellie in the witness stand, Max in front of her, a golden badge on his chest. The words above it, "My voice." The judge's eyes well up. "May I frame this?" She nods. Inside, in the hallway just outside courtroom 3C, the drawing is mounted. Beneath it, a small plaque. In recognition of Max, certified therapy dog whose loyalty and bond gave voice to the voiceless. Ellie doesn't return to silence. She speaks now. Not always, not loudly, but clearly. She even volunteers at the animal shelter twice a week. Sometimes she helps train other kids, helps them learn the same hand signals, helps them connect with dogs who know how to listen when no one else does. Max watches over them all. His ears perk when a child walks in. He never rushes. He waits for their signal, waits for their trust. Because Max understands, some of the loudest screams live behind silent lips. And sometimes, all it takes is one quiet message to be heard. If this story touched you, share it with someone who believes in the silent strength of love, loyalty, and healing. Leave a comment below. Have you ever seen a bond this powerful? And if you want more true stories that remind us of the unseen heroes among us, subscribe now. Let their stories be heard, just like Ellie's was.